and French response to these atrocities will integrate all instruments of our national power, military,
about to begin, y'all.
and diplomatic. We are prepared
the year of prophecy has begun.
This response until the
Get right with your How about
stops
y'all
its use of prohibited chemical agents.
For the kingdom of heaven, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Tonight for the two governments most responsible for supporting, equipping, and financing the criminal Assad regime. To Iran and to Russia, I ask, what kind of a nation wants to be associated with the mass murder of innocent men, women, and children?
Ezekiel 38,
can
starting verse 1. And the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua came to me. Son of man, set your face towards God of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, Thus saith Yahweh thy power, I am against you, O God, chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn you around and put hooks into your jaws, and I will lead you out with all your army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed in full armor, a great company of all of them with the shield and buckler, wielding swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Put are with them, and all of them with buckler and helmet. Gomer and all his troops. Beth to Gomer, from the remotest parts of the north with all his troops. That's Russia. Many peoples are with you. Be ready and keep ready. And you and all the companies that are assembled around you, and hold yourselves in reserve for them. After many days you shall be mustered. In the latter years you shall go against a land restored from a war, a land where people were gathered from many nations on the mountains of Israel, which are long lain waste. Its people were brought out from the nations and are now living in safety of all them. And let you know that the true Israelites ain't home there, because that land is Israel is not living in safety. You shall advance coming on like a storm. You shall be like a cloud covering the land, and you and all your troops and many people with you. Meshach and Tubal, I just read out of Ezekiel 38, verses 1 through 9. That's Syria, modern day Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, that area there. Now, it's going down, y'all. We watching history unfold.
For the resources, equipment, and all of the anti-ISIS effort. Increased engagement from our friends, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Egypt, and others, can ensure that Iran does not profit from the eradication of ISIS. America does not seek an indefinite presence in Syria under no circumstances. As other nations step up their contributions, we look forward to the day when we can bring our warriors home, and great warriors they are. Looking around our very troubled world, Americans have no illusions. We cannot purge the world of evil or act everywhere there is tyranny. No amount of American blood or treasure can produce lasting peace and security in the Middle East. It's a troubled place. We will try to make it better, but it is a troubled place. The United States will be a partner and a friend, but the fate of the region lies in the hands of its own people. In the last century, we looked straight into the darkest places of the human soul. We saw the anguish that can be unleashed and the evil that can take hold. By the end of World War I, more than 1 million people had been killed or injured by chemical weapons. We never want to see that ghastly specter return. So today, the nations of Britain, France, and the United States of America have marshaled their righteous power against barbarism and brutality. Tonight I ask all Americans to say a prayer for our noble warriors and our allies as they carry out their missions. We pray that God will bring comfort to those suffering in Syria.
Yeah, right.
We pray that God will guide the whole region toward a future of dignity and of peace. And we pray that God will continue to watch over and bless the United States of America. Thank you and good night. Thank you.
President Trump addressing the nation tonight, revealing to the nation we have now launched precision strikes on Syria aimed at their chemical weapons. He revealed this is a combined operation of both the U.S., the U.K., and France. He'd been communicating with leaders of both countries throughout the week. He talked about President Assad in Syria, saying these are the crimes of a monster, describing the mothers, the children, the parents we saw in those images gasping for air. I want to bring in our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, who's been monitoring this all week, and now the president's speech tonight. Martha, what kind of strike is underway at this hour? And he's revealed that he's working with allies both from the UK and from France tonight.
And he certainly is, and there are warplanes in the area and warships as well. The words he used were they would go after chemical weapons capabilities. And I think that could be anything from airfields to aircraft. They believe these chemical weapons were delivered from barrel bombs from helicopters, so they will certainly go after something like that. But one of the things we've all been watching, David, this week is how strong an impact it will have. Last year, they did bomb that airfield, and within days, it was working once again. There were airplanes launched. So what they went after tonight, we don't know yet. The Pentagon will have a press briefing in about 45 minutes and fill us in on exactly what was hit and how strong an impact they think it will have. One of the things that Secretary Mattis said just yesterday gives you some idea of what their concerns were.
Really?
He said,
No, my bad, y'all. Meshach and Taboo.
We're trying to stop the murder of innocent people, but on a strategic level, it's how do we
He said, I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaw, and will leave you out with all your army and horses and horsemen, all clothed and full of armor, accompanied with all of them with the shield and buckler wielding swords. Meshach and Taboo. I believe it's modern day America and Britain, man. My bad, y'all. It's modern day Britain because the United States been trying to avoid Syria for the longest now. God put hooks in their jaws and brought them there. Anyway.
Talked about chemical weapons capabilities, that this could be multiple sites we're looking at tonight.
David, this was a coordinated cruise missile attack from the sea and the air by U.S., French, and British forces against numerous targets within Syria.
Numerous targets. How many do you believe, and what kinds of targets?
Well, we'll wait on details from the Pentagon, David, but as Martha noted, right at the top of the list will be chemical weapons storage facilities. But we also know that the president asked for a broader set of targets this time. He wants to deal a crippling blow to the Assad regime. So we may see infrastructure, but we'll also see military command and control, intelligence headquarters. And David, if you look out there to the east of Damascus at Demer Air Base,
I hope y'all opting watching this, man.
Intelligence estimates are that the attack
This shit's
on
getting
Douma
real,
was
y'all.
launched from, and so that airfield likely will also be on the list of targets tonight.
But Colonel Gagnon, you heard the president talk about the U.S. strike just about a year ago. Martha pointed out that the airstrip was being used literally within days of that strike. Do you gather that the strike this time around, or series of strikes, will be far more potent?
I think it will have to be, David. The president said
Prophecy
he needs to make a statement, and the
this
statement
Ezekiel
we made last time
38
was
prophecy
nothing more
here,
than a
y'all.
warning. I think this time what's interesting, if you note these rings on the map here, these are rings that represent the maximum effective range of two very sophisticated Russian surface-to-air missile systems that military planners are having to try to avoid. They don't know if the Russians are going to try and shoot down the Allied cruise missiles in flight. And so the military planners have had to fly those missiles low through the mountains of Lebanon to get to their targets in Damascus, literally flying under the radar.
Yeah, we simply do not know at this hour if the Russians will take any countermeasures, though they had threatened to do so earlier in the week. I want to bring in our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell. He's with us tonight from London. And Ian, you heard President Trump there single out both Russia and Iran, but in particular Vladimir Putin. He talked about how it was Russia's responsibility to guarantee that those chemical weapons would not be used any longer in Syria, and yet we witnessed this attack in just the last week.
Yeah, and let's not forget, of course, when President Obama
y'all,
drew
my bad,
his red
man. I've been
line,
standing
it
on
was
my
Russia
feet
that
all
acted
day, man.
as a guarantor for the
Ever since
decommissioning
4 this
of
morning.
chemical weapons by Syria, and the
Slave
accusation
job,
tonight is that
hopefully,
it
man.
didn't hold true to its word.
Hopefully
However,
by,
there
you know
did
what
seem to be
I'm saying?
something of an olive